Shoutouts this week to Travis from Tampa Bay and Brittany from Cincinnati. Both found our podcast just recently when they listened to our episode about the story behind the song Play That Funky Music. We had a lot of new listeners that week, and that prompted me to want to give you an update. This episode is coming out around the time of our 2-year anniversary. Since we started, we've counted many thousands of listeners and tens of thousands of downloads. The Shaping Opinion podcast may not be on the iTunes rankings of the biggest podcast, but I can tell you it's grown more than I thought it would when we launched it in 2018. You've given us your thoughts, and we've listened. If you're an avid podcast listener, you may be noticing that 2 kinds of podcasts are starting to emerge. The big ones with celebrities and lots of money behind them, and the many more indie podcasts like this one, each with its own community of listeners. That's what makes podcasting so special. It's not just entertainment, it's community, and that can't happen without you and your connection with us. That's why now more than ever, I'd invite you to get to know us. Share your thoughts and feedback with me through email at tim@shapingopinion.com. And if it's easier, get in touch on Twitter or Instagram at Shaping Opinion. If you want, we can give you a shout out. And as always, thank you for being a listener of the Shaping Opinion podcast. You're the reason we do this. This is Shaping Opinion, a production of O'Brien Communications. When you play hockey, do you ever imagine yourself as a Pittsburgh Penguins player? Tell me about it.
Do, because I'm a Penguins fan, and I like all the Pittsburgh teams, and I just like Pittsburgh. And
well, when you daydream about being that Penguin player, describe what it's like on the ice. What's exactly happening when you imagine that?
If you know Nikita Kucherov, he does like the fake shot and then go fake shot. Like he lets it slide off his stick and go fake shot. And that's like my main move. I've scored on it like once already, and that's it.
I'm Tim O'Brien. In this episode of the Shaping Opinion podcast, we're joined by Tyler Avolia and his mom, Hilary. With Tyler and his mom, we'll tell the story of how one spontaneous moment at a hockey game when Tyler was 2 turned into a meme that you may already know. The premise of our podcast is simple. We talk about people, events, and things that have shaped the way we think. Today we'll talk with Tyler and Hilary about how a TV clip during a Pittsburgh Penguins hockey game in 2014 has made Tyler's baby face one of the most shared memes on the internet. In this episode, we'll explore one real-life example of a phenomena best known as meme culture. It's 2014, and as the Pittsburgh Penguins like to say, it's a hockey night in Pittsburgh. A 2-year-old Tyler Avolia was very excited. He was with his mom and dad in the one place that he'd want to be, watching hockey. Hilary, Tyler's mom, says that her son liked hockey for as long as she could remember. But that year, the 2-year-old took it to a new level when he received hockey equipment for Christmas, skates and a stick and hockey nets. Hilary said they tried getting Tyler interested in baseball, but all he cared about was hockey. She said he even learned the words to the national anthem by watching hockey on TV every time the Penguins played. And he insisted on singing the anthem before playing any hockey himself. Tyler's family were season ticket holders for the Pittsburgh Penguins and went to quite a few games that year. So it was that on one night, after a big goal, the Penguins' television cameras scanned the arena crowd for reaction, and they found Tyler sitting on his mom's lap. The baby-faced toddler had a fierce expression on his face as he pumped his fists in the air and let out a scream in excitement. Later in the season, when the Penguins and their star captain Sidney Crosby were battling it out with the Philadelphia Flyers, Crosby scored a goal and the arena went wild. By then, the video crew in the arena had already queued up that video of young Tyler pumping his fists. It's a video no one had seen yet. Then something unplanned happened. The Penguins announcer and former player Phil Bourque commented on Crosby's goal, saying,
"Buckle up, baby, are you kidding me?"
Bourque said this right when the video of Tyler flashed across the video screen of the arena and on TV. The juxtaposition between Bourque's words and that video of Tyler went viral almost instantly. The Penguins even decided to make the words "Buckle up, baby" their team slogan for the playoff run. But according to Hilary, that was just the beginning.
I know I woke up the next morning and my neighbor's daughter actually was the first one to post it. And I was floored because I didn't know actually when the video was taken. And then everybody else kept posting all day long. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then that's when the Channel 4 News actually reached out to me to talk to him. But even to this day, people will text me and be like, I'm sure you already know, but your son's a GIF or he's a meme. But yeah, it's been crazy. I never in a million years would have imagined that it happened, but it has.
Before we go any further, it's probably important for us to talk about what exactly is a meme. It's one thing to have a viral video and another for your video to become widely popular as a GIF or a meme, which is the case here. So let's talk about meme culture for a moment. A meme is a relatable graphic or video clip with text. Memes usually originate as viral videos like the one we're talking about today. Most memes have lines of text that overlay the video to express a particular message. You see them on social media messages and in texts. They're used to express a feeling or a gesture. If you want to thank someone or congratulate them or say hi or wink at someone or applaud something, there's a meme for that. In fact, there are memes for just about any occasion. People who want to apologize for something or can't find the words may use a GIF or a meme of a sad puppy. The term meme was introduced in 1976 by a famous British biologist named Richard Dawkins. As memes became more popular, meme culture emerged. Memes have now become so common on social media that they're replacing words and emoji as a way to say something in everyday communication. What do you remember about that night specifically, before it happened, like the game, going into the game, those types of things?
I honestly can't recall what even game it was. We were season ticket holders and we had taken him to so many games up until that point. So it wasn't until the first playoff game that the actual photographer came up to us and he said he had mentioned that he had that video, but he didn't say what game it was from. So it was all a mystery to me. And then he said he had the video and he kind of tucked it away for a while. And once Phil Bourque went ahead and coined the term the Buckle Up Baby, that's when he introduced that picture to the Penguins. And then from there it took off.
So the picture that we see wasn't from the game that night? It was from a different game?
Yes, it was from a different night.
He actually had that video from a different game. Mm-hmm. And then when that goal happened with Sidney Crosby, then the photographer used that video that night.
Absolutely.
But he didn't know Phil Bourque was going to say "Buckle Up, Baby." It was just timing.
It was just all timing, yeah. As soon as he coined that term, and then that's when he took that image to the Penguins and they ran with it. So,
what about yourself as far as the game where he did that? Did he ever do that kind of thing in other goals before? Did you notice that about Tyler?
Yes, he actually did it at home, even watching the games at home. That was his natural reaction to every goal.
Where does that come from?
I'm not real sure. He's always loved the game and he likes sports, but he was always drawn to hockey.
When you watch the video of yourself from that hockey game when you were a little 2-year-old, what do you think when you watch it?
I'm like, man, I'm so small and like, I was like so small and I just didn't know like what it would do. And like when Phil Bourque put it on for the Penguins, it just like I didn't even know until like I was like 5 or 6, and then like once I knew, I found out.
How soon was it after that game? You mentioned Channel 4, and WTAE in Pittsburgh is Channel 4. They picked that up. How soon was it before it started to spread beyond that?
Probably within hours, because my phone just blew up right away. The way that they got about came into contacting me, he was everywhere, and I didn't have time to really react. It just happened.
Did you start getting requests for interviews, and how did that go?
Yeah, after the WTA interview, we actually did one with Good Morning America, and we did have others reach out, but we went ahead with just the two. That was my husband's, more or less. He granted the two, and then he was 2 at the time, so he didn't want to get too much press out there. So,
well, that was a lot of excitement, especially when you talk about Good Morning America. How long did that excitement last? I know that the Penguins used the term "buckle up, baby" as a kind of a slogan for a little while. How long did that all last?
It was actually through the whole playoff season that year. We had gone to games in the playoffs, and they were still using it, and his image was still on the Jumbotron. If they would score a goal, they would use it, and it was through that season, and then even I think into the next part of the next season, it still was alive and well.
Did you meet any Pittsburgh Penguins players after that?
Yes, I met Malkin, Crosby, Fleury, and I think I met Letang, and then I met Mata, and that's basically almost everybody I met.
Well, I think for anyone that has something like that happen to them, that's not unusual. You end up doing something and you get media attention, and then there's this news cycle, we call it. Sometimes it's 24 hours or longer, and people are in the news for a period of time, and then it goes away. The cameras go away. The attention goes away. Did the attention go away for long, or did that video take on a life of its own pretty quickly?
I feel like it took a life of its own pretty quickly. They followed up, WTA followed up 2 years later to see what he was doing. And like I said, now everyone is using the GIF and the meme. And I just feel like I was like, it'll eventually go away, but it has not so far.
What's interesting to me about this, and it's really what prompted me to want to do this interview, is because at first it's a human interest story. It's a hockey story, if you want to call it that. It's a local story for Pittsburgh. It's just such an interesting little video. But then it starts to take on a different life because, as you mentioned, there's these memes or GIFs, and people put words over top of the video that have nothing to do with hockey or Pittsburgh. If they're excited about something, or they might use words like "let's go" or things like that. Let's get fired up. So if someone says to another person, "Hey, do you want to go down to the game this weekend?" somebody else sends them back this meme. And it may not even be a hockey game, or maybe, "Do you want to go to a party this weekend?" and someone sends them back this meme, and it's your son with words like "let's go" over the top of it. So there's this sort of universal communication that people use through memes and through GIFs, but your son's a part of that. And there are a few that I've seen that are just extremely popular GIFs, and this is one of them. In fact, I saw one just recently from someone I know in California, and I forget what the context was, but it was a Facebook group conversation, and someone used this meme that you and I had already had this interview scheduled, and I thought, here we go. Someone in San Diego that's clearly not a hockey fan is using this meme of Tyler, and to communicate. She has no idea who Tyler is, and yet he's a part of her day communicating. How does that make you feel? Is that a surreal thing for you?
It is surreal. Like I mentioned before, I would have never have guessed it would have gotten as big as it has. Every time it's used, I do kind of chuckle, because I'm so not used to seeing him, but he enjoys it, I think.
Has this whole experience taught you anything about the way people communicate?
Yeah, it like you had mentioned, like somebody in California that wouldn't even know anything about it, they have used it. I have family in California who their friends post about it, and he's in it. And yeah, the power of the internet is crazy, and how fast things like that can spread. It's just unbelievable. I
think if, as a parent, it's I would view it as a good thing that no one really knows who Tyler is by name, or maybe where he is. But what has been the downside of this? Has there been a downside of this at all, or has he been able to have a pretty normal life as a kid?
He's had a pretty normal life. Initially in those first playoff games, there were people who recognized him when we were just walking around getting food, and they'd high five him or want to take a picture with him, but it hasn't negatively impacted him at all. He's a normal kid who likes sports, but he also likes the attention that he gets from it, don't you?
What's the upside been?
We really, other than the initial reaction, the Penguins did reach out. We did get playoff hockey tickets that whole season. He did get an autographed Sidney Crosby jersey that he's put away. And then also he did get a bag of equipment from Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. So that was his actual first set of equipment. And from that, we haven't benefited too much. That's not what we were looking for.
What about yourself? Do you use GIFs or memes?
I do. However, his is not one that I tend to use.
How do you use them?
Just as a response, just like everyone else uses it. I just use it as a quick response to, to somebody.
Whenever you're together with other hockey families or whatever, have they adopted that same kind of cheer when there's a goal or anything like that?
You know what? They haven't. But his one coach that actually just found out about it at practice probably a month ago, so we're almost done with the season, and he just found out, and that's all he'll talk. That's what he calls him now. He doesn't even refer to him as Ty anymore. He just refers to him as the Buckle Up Baby.
What kind of things do people say to you when they learn about this? What's the more common reaction?
People just can't believe it. It's shocking. It's not, and people will be like, why didn't you tell us? I'm like, it's not something that's not how we introduce ourselves. Our close family and friends knew about it. We didn't go out and promote it. But I'm like, if you ask, I'll tell you, but he actually had another coach send me the GIF over right before Christmas. And he's like, is this Ty? And I was like, yeah, how did you figure it out? And he goes, because he gives me that exact same intense look on the ice as he does in that video.
Do you have a family policy now, since you've gone to that one game, on how you videotape each other at games, or do you not videotape each other at games?
We usually don't videotape at games.
Did you ever try to recreate that?
Actually, we did. Each year, the Penguins they do a free game for the kids. And each local hockey organization does get free tickets for their organization. And we actually went this September, and we did. We recreated it for a friend.
Let's talk about the family. Obviously, you're a hockey family. How did your family become a hockey family?
I'm not real sure. My husband played collegiate football. I played sports my whole life. Hockey was not a sport that was on our radar. When he was little, like I said, he was naturally drawn to hockey. And so we're like, okay. So then right after Christmas that he turned 2, he did ask for a pair. He wanted a pair of hockey skates. And we said, okay. So we went to the one local sports store and asked them if they had skates in his size. And they're like, no. They're like, just go up the street here to Pure Hockey. They're like, they probably have something in his size. So we got in the car, we drove up the hill, we went into Pure Hockey, and we asked, do you have skates in his size? He wants to learn. They're like, sure, sit him down. So my husband and I were both sitting there thinking, oh, once they put these skates on, he's going to fall. He's not going to be interested. They put his skates on. They're like, okay, buddy. He jumps down. He runs through this store, gets a stick, gets a ball, and they're like, good luck. So, yeah, he just asked for them, and we went and bought them. And my husband and I, neither one knew how to ice skate. And luckily, my brother-in-law did, and his wife. And we went to a public skate once, and they took him out. And then we finally found a private instructor to teach him how to skate. And he was with him for a few years, and that's where he learned to skate. And then Dad and I had to also take a learned skate because we had to keep up with him.
It's funny what kids will make you do.
Absolutely.
So your son liked watching hockey. It wasn't necessarily your husband's background or your background, but your son liked watching hockey. And then you bought him skates when he was 2 years old. And the rest is history. His playing of hockey fed his fandom, and his fandom fed his playing. When you see other memes, do any thoughts cross your mind when you see people who might have, it might be another child or it might be another person in a meme? What do you think of when you see memes of other people? What goes through your mind?
I wonder if it's as popular as Ty.
Do you ever see this subsiding, or do you think this is a long-term thing?
I think it's going to be long-term. Like I said, it's not just hockey related anymore or Pittsburgh related. People use it for when they want to say yeah, or like you said, let's go. I think it's gonna go on forever.
Would you be surprised 10 years from now if you still see that meme floating around?
At this point, probably not. Nothing surprises me anymore. Like I said, when people, it seems like at least once a month, hey, did you know your son was a GIF? Hey, did you know your son was a meme? I'm sure you already do, but I just wanted to let you know. So I don't, in 10 years, I really wouldn't be surprised.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A hockey player.
Hilary and Tyler, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
To learn more about everything that we talked about today, please see our show notes at shapingopinion.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please help others find it. Leave a rating and review in Apple Podcasts and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd love to hear from you. On Twitter, just tweet to us at Shaping Opinion or get in touch with us through our website, shapingopinion.com. We have a Facebook page and we're on Instagram at Shaping Opinion. Shaping Opinion is a production of O'Brien Communications. This is where we talk about people, events, and things that have shaped the way we think. Until next time, I'm Tim O'Brien.